Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us this morning. This is both our usual Sunday Sangha. There you are. And but this is also the fifth day of a four-night retreat that began on Wednesday. About 45 people were attending that, so we're all together this morning. This morning we'll have the Dharma talk, but we also have a family program going on at the same time, so we'll be stopping the talk around 11:15. Just so we know, we have a community that's online. Welcome people online. Dee, how many people are online?
101.
So we have about 100 people online, about 90 in the hall, so we're a nice community this morning. Thank you all for joining us. So we begin with announcements. We're delighted that we're going to have 6 monastics from the Thich Nhat Hanh Blue Cliff Monastery in upstate New York joining us for the last weekend in February. They will be conducting a family retreat. The family retreat in terms of people in residence is full, but if people have families and they want to commute, there is still space for commuters, and this is from 6 through 19 ages. There will be 3 different groups. There'll also be a day of mindfulness on Saturday. As of now, unfortunately, the day of mindfulness can only be for FCM members. Anybody can become an FCM member, only because we are feeding everybody and we have a limited capacity. But if there turns out there is room, we'll be opening it up to everyone. And then the monastics will be giving the Dharma talk here that Sunday. Our teacher Fred, who was formally authorized by Thich Nhat Hanh to transmit the refuges, Buddhist refuges and trainings, will be conducting a transmission ceremony at the Tampa Practice Center Sunday, March 15th for any FCM members, including teenagers 13 and older, who wish to formally take refuge and receive the trainings. He will also be transmitting the 2 promises to younger children. As Fred believes, it's funny talking about Fred this way. As Fred believes this is an important step in one's spiritual development, you must be present in person at the center to take the transmission. And to receive transmission, we're offering either an in-person transmission preparatory class or one in the hall on Sunday, March 1st and Monday the 2nd. Please check the website for more information. On Saturday, February 14th, there will be a half day of mindfulness led by Fred. There he is again. FEM Days of Mindfulness are offered both in person at the Tampa Practice Center and online. Whether you're a new or an experienced meditator, our Days of Mindfulness are an opportunity to support and deepen the practice of mindfulness, meditation, and to nourish the seeds of well-being, inner peace, and openness in our lives. And also on February 14th, Bill McMillan from here will be conducting a Day of Mindfulness in Naples, Florida. So please check the calendar. There will be a selfless service work meditation morning, Saturday, February 21st. It's a wonderful opportunity for members and non-members to come together, to work together mindfully on the facility. We take care of it ourselves, and also to get to know each other in a more informal setting. No special skills are required, but they're helpful if you have any. So please join us for that. On the evening of February 21st, we will be having our 3rd FCM Cafe, a casual social gathering where members and non-members can connect and get to know each other, and there will be entertainment, there will be snacks, so please, everybody stop by. Regularly, we have meditation every morning, 7 to 8, here and online. We have mindfulness recovery Monday nights and Tuesday. We have yoga with Evelyn and Sharon on Monday nights, Qigong with David on Wednesday nights, and we have Wake Up Tampa Bay, a mindfulness and meditation group for people ages 18 to 35, meets here bi-weekly, and the next time they meet is 2 weeks from yesterday, or Friday, 2 weeks from Friday. Thank you for the help you gave me. We have a family program. You'll see them in action today. You can find out more information about that. And all the information, actually, is on our website or in our newsletter, Mindfulness Matters. As to the matter at hand, we have been fortunate. It's actually coming to an end for the past 2 weeks to have the Roshi Bays, Chozen and Hogen in residence with us. They've each given talks in previous weeks. We did a semi-kind of retreat up in Tallahassee with our Dharma brother Guagu and his community, the Chan community up in Tallahassee. And they've just finished leading a 4-day retreat here in Tampa. You can find out more about them, but they are not only dear friends of mine. Hogen and I started our Zen training together 50 years ago, or more. I say 50 years, but it's probably more by now. And they have continued, the two of them together. They are both highly experienced Zen teachers in the Mayazumi Haradara Roshi tradition. They are abbesses of a monastery in Oregon, as well as a temple in Portland, and really wonderful human beings, great Dharma teachers. So we are fortunate to have them here. Thank you for coming. We deeply are honored to have you in Tampa, Florida.
Great. Thank you all. It's an honor to be here. Fred and I actually started practicing back in the late 1960s, probably 56 or 57 years ago, almost 6 decades ago. Does this sound all right? We're doing okay? Good. So, Chozen and I moved here. We moved in with Fred and Angie about 2 weeks ago, and they've been hosting us. They've been feeding us and driving us around and waking us up and tucking us in at night. And they've been, Angie has given me at least 5 different versions of coffee. And if, Fred kind of wanders in and gives Dharma talks. So I think if you have the good fortune and the good karma to be connected with Fred and Angie and this Sangha, I think you are really blessed. So as we feel blessed. And it's nice if you're looking for a spiritual teacher, or if you're looking for a spiritual community, one of the criterion is you look at the person inside, outside, front and the back. You really see who they are when they're not up here on the pulpit. And I guarantee I've thoroughly checked them out very, very well. They've passed my test, so I think you're very blessed to have them as the leaders of this community. If we're involved with Dharma, to be able to be generous, kind, wonderful hosts, and to be able to work with our lives, the rich complexity of all of our lives, being able to earn a living and being able to be in relationship and being able to do all the demands of our life with a spirit of warm-heartedness, with a spirit of open generosity and kindness. Hallelujah! Whatever path leads to that, I'm on it. Both, I vote for it, but I also am doing my best to walk it as well. Because anyway, what are we looking for from a spiritual practice? We're looking for a spiritual practice that will help us to be vital, to be alive, to be engaged, to be really responsive to this world, to be connected. We were looking for something that will help our relationships to really have meaning, that we feel connected, that we're not feeling isolated and alone, that we're looking for a spiritual practice that will touch the transcendental, that not only are we engaged in all of the challenges of our world here, but we also have the ability to touch that which is larger than us, that which is inclusive, that which kind of contains the craziness of the world, and helps us to find meaning, helps us to find stability and clarity. So, to me, that's what a spiritual practice does, and it does it in 3 ways. I mean, first off, we offer the teachings. We say, it is possible to find a place of clarity, of deep, solid engagement. It's possible to do that. There are realms where that's never even That is not recognized as possible. It's possible to find freedom. It's possible to find liberation. It's possible to open the heart. It's possible to not be at the mercy of governments. It's possible to not be at the mercy, but rather to have a warm-hearted, dynamic, active engagement. That teaching of it's possible is a very important aspect of the spiritual practice. Secondly, it's important to have methods, important to have ways of being mindful, ways of practicing, ways of looking at the nature of mind, ways of enhancing our relationships, ways of engaging. So there are many different methods, many different ways, many different techniques, many different tools. And if you're around here for a while and you're involved with the intensives, with the retreats, you learn all those different tools. Now, of course, we have to put them into practice. So learning them is easy in the days of AI, and you can go to DeepSeek or ChatGPT or whatever, and you can find out anything. You want to know what the most advanced, deepest, most esoteric teachings of Dzogchen and Zen are. You just type ChatGPT. It'll give you a whole full-page layout. It'll tell you how to begin practice, middle practice, but it won't do it for you. It can't do it for you. So information is out there, but the information is only good if we have the aspiration for ourselves. We have we know how to practice, and then we have the essential ingredient of a community. We can't do it alone. We're trying to do spiritual practice alone, then it's basically the machinations of our mind trying to manipulate us into what we think the world should be and how we should be. And so it is necessary for an awake life to have vital relationships with a community, with your family, with your children, with your coworkers, and with a teacher. Ideally, people who've been practicing for a while are exemplars. They say, okay, I have done this, I've seen this for myself, I've walked this path, and and I have the confidence, I have the faith based upon my own direct experience that you can too. That this path of clarity, this path of brightness, this path of open-minded engagement, this path of meaning is possible for everybody. And a teacher and senior people in a community know that because they've tasted it, because they've experienced it, and they want to do their best to share and encourage you. You too can experience the benefits of spiritual practice. Obviously, it's not limited to this particular spiritual practice. There are many different ways of approaching the world and many different ways of touching the transcendental. But when you find a group that has a vital, alive connection, it's worth investigating, worth sticking around for. I always suggest that when we're looking for community or practice, that there are 5 or 6 things that are essential to look at. And one is the community founded on ethics? Is it an ethical community? Is there fiduciary and sexual responsibility? It's got a good, clear foundation? And in this community, in almost all Dharma centers, there is a good foundation of the ethical principles of living. Without the ethical principles of life, our lives are just become self-centered and small. The ethical principles of life are ways of skillfully working with other people, not to lie to people, not to steal from people, to respect. So is a community got a good foundation of ethics? And I think from my vantage point, this community has a very solid, meaningful foundation. Secondly, I suggest that when we're looking for practice, and we're thinking, is it intelligent? We're intelligent people. We have clear minds. So the teaching should be something that is responsive and alive. If there are questions and problems, then you could ask. I would ask for the most difficult thing you possibly can imagine, and make sure that the answers are genuine and are reasonable. We want reason. We want a community that's not just based upon somebody told me, somebody told me, somebody told me, but it's based upon here's my experience. This is what works. This is reasonable. This is intelligent. So we want a community that is intelligent, that has a vital life to it. Third, we want a community that has heart, that is kind, that is warm. You know, you walk into a community, and the very first thing we know is, what's the feeling in my heart? Is it a warm and welcoming community? Are people genuine? Do people have real relationships? Do people really see me as for who I am? And of course, can I do that with other people too? So we then look and see, okay, what's the heart? What's the heart? What's the beating heart of a community? I mean, you look at these same things in terms of a particular teacher or even a relationship. You know, you want to make sure that the person you're getting together with is ethical, that they are intelligent, at least hopefully slightly more intelligent than you are, that they have a really good heart, and you know, it's always nice if they have a bigger heart than you do. The third thing is I always look at what are the people like, not only in terms of intelligence and relationship, but are there quality people around? Are there people of integrity? Are there people who really have done something generous with their world? Are there people who understand about volunteering and relationship? Are there people who are mature and stable in their own being, who understand how to find stability and clarity and are not just bounced around by the constant challenges of emotion and constant challenges of fear and anxiety, but are they people of some gravitas? And then third, fourth, fifth, thank you. Fifth, it's very good to have a great partner who will keep you online. Right? Never hurts. So when we are practicing and realize, oh, every bit of criticism and judgment that's coming towards me is actually information, and I can use it. So people are always telling me I'm doing the wrong thing. Oh, okay, thank you very much. Appreciate that. And how can I learn from this? You know, to have that ability so that we're not at the mercy of the challenges of life, but we can say, oh, okay, everything is part of what I'm learning. The next point, whichever it is if you find some place that is reasonably close to you, it is so much better than have a perfect teacher in Tibet. You know? I mean, I definitely know people who know the perfect teacher, you know, who lives, you know, on a mountainside in Dharamsala. You know? But it doesn't do us much good in terms of relationships. So having a community where you can actually be present and engaged, and that means, of course, in this day and age, we are both blessed and damaged by the possibility of being on the internet. The internet both gives us ability to connect, but it also simultaneously keeps us distant. But if we have the blessing of being present, of coming into the hall, of doing retreats, of talking to real people, oh, what a blessing. And then, so better again, to be blessed with even an imperfect place that's close by and here than the perfect place that is in Asia. Last one I often look at is, I think, investigate the teacher. You know, look at the teacher, have they done what they're asking other people to do? Are they actually practicing mindfulness? Are they practicing intelligence? Are they practicing generosity? Are they practicing skillfulness? And has their life revealed that? Is their life an expression of what they're asking you to do? Because if they're saying, here, you do this thing which I can't do, well, that happens all the time. But rather in the spiritual community, we want to have a community that is practicing and living and awakening together. And the teacher is the exemplar of that. So this whole community is blessed. Congratulations. Okay?
You have more time.
I will.
You run down. I'm just amused because one of Hogen's teachings during this retreat was to slow the mind down.
So, everything has a place. In this world, everything has a place. There are times it is really important to be slow and mindful. And boy, there are times it drives you absolutely crazy. And there are times it's important to be really dynamic and really engaged. There are times it's important to be really humble. There are times it's important to be totally confident. There are times it's important, to have a really soft, open heart. And there are times it's important to have a steely confidence. One of the elements of spiritual practice is we begin to know all those different dimensions of ourselves. We are not unipolar beings. We are rich beings. We have parts of us that are weak and shaky and fearful. We have parts of us that are unabashed and strong and forthright. As we are meditating, we are not meditating to, I want to find the golden mean. That's a little narrow line down the center. I want to know the golden mean that includes the whole of who we are. It includes the whole of who we are, and learn how to use these different parts. When we are meditating, often people come in, the first thing that they feel like, okay, our purpose of meditation is become calm, clear, stable. Great. Become calm, clear, and stable. But after you've been meditating for a while, suddenly you realize, oh, there's a part of me that's not so calm, not so clear, not so stable. How do I include that? How do I include my own fear? How do I include my own arrogance? How do I digest all of the parts of myself and digest them so that they become soft, so they become functional, so that I can move with strength when I need to and receive with gentleness when I need to. The spiritual practice, spiritual path is not a narrow line down the center of the highway. The spiritual path is a big, wide freeway that's inclusive of everything that goes on in there. And part of our job is to learn not only what's on the highway, but how do we skillfully engage with it. I think that's enough for me for right now. Important to know when to be quiet.
There's a famous teacher in the Buddhist tradition called Shantideva, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I think Shantideva was considered by his fellow monastics to be rather lazy and maybe even stupid. And he would take long naps, but then he awoke from the nap and just began teaching, right? Am I telling the right story?
So it's an apocryphal story, but the story is that in Nalanda University in India back in the 700s, Shantideva was a lazy, good-for-nothing monk who slept a lot and was, kind of obese and unappreciated. And so the monks were going to make a kind of, the monks were thinking, well, let's make this person into a joke. Let's set this person up so they can just see how the community views them. And let's set them up to fail. Let's set them up to look really bad. And so they had this great big assembly. And they said, okay, Shantideva, you're now at the front of the assembly. Start talking. And they expected this person to kind of fumble and fail and embarrass himself. And
He gave a profound teaching, which lasted for
from then until now.
So sometimes Hogen takes a nap, which he did just before this. And then he wakes up and he's like, Shanti David is like, whoa, it just pours out, which is wonderful to see and hear. So I wanted to bring us back into practice, some of the practices we did during the retreat, because it's we have a Sunday program at the monastery, just like this, where the people who live there, about 25 to 35 people live there, mostly young people, but the age range goes from the 20s to me. I'm the oldest. I'm 80, and people that, as I always say, wouldn't encounter each other probably in daily life. But we come together because we all have a deep spiritual longing, and that calls to us and calls us to practice together. And that's why you're here today, too. That same call is compelled you to get in the car, come here. So I like to introduce to people who come on Sundays at least one or two of the practices that we did during the retreat. So it's like a sampler, right? Decide if it speaks to you. So we listen to influencers a lot these days. I don't, but I am on Instagram and I learn a lot from Instagram because there's a curated, what you look at a lot, they keep feeding you. And the Buddha was an influencer in his time. And now you can see how strong his influence was, because here we are. 2,560 years later, here we are. And he was a profound influencer because he spoke about the things that we all suffer from. That we all suffer in life in many ways. And the Buddha had a koan. So in Zen practice, often people do koans, a kind of pithy little question that gets kind of dug into your being, and you want it answered. And the Buddha's koan was, why do people suffer? And is there any cure for suffering? And he experimented on himself, which is the only person we can experiment on ethically is ourselves. So he experimented on himself, and over the course of studying with different teachers, and then finally sitting down and meditating on his own, he discovered that yes, there is a cure for our human suffering. And so that's why I'm here today, because I found it to be true in my own life. And that's why Fred is here, and that's why many of you are here. So I'm going to do two small teachings that might interest you. One is about a form of suffering called impatience. We all know we should be more patient, right? But then we discover we're not. So someone described a common phenomenon, which is waking up in the morning, and there's a moment of peace, maybe. You wake up and you're not oriented to the world, and then in comes the to-do list, and then impatience arises. Impatience can arise when you're waiting in line, very common time. Whether that line is at the post office. So we went to the local post office a few days ago, and there was a long line. So impatience arises, you can watch it arise, and you can use it for practice. There happened to be a wonderful clerk in the local post office, and so I just watched her be so kind and so accommodating, and she was a real teaching. But when we feel impatience arise, another time is traffic jams. Impatience arises in traffic jams, right? And then we end up with road rage. So can be terrible consequences from impatience, which is a form of anger, actually. So anger has a spectrum. Then we need to know that spectrum. So there's rage, killing, wanting to kill somebody or actually killing somebody. There's rage on the one end. And then we go all the way down to impatience or irritation. So most of us aren't on the rage end, although we can feel anger arising. But we start by working with impatience, the seeds of anger. So I examined impatience for myself. Impatience when did it arise on the highway, waiting in line, and so on. And I realized, okay, I'm impatient to get this thing over so I can go on to the next thing. Isn't that what impatience is based on? I want to finish this thing quickly. We might encounter it in eating too, right? That's very common in our society. We eat fast. So we have a practice called mindful eating to make us, encourage us to slow down and really enjoy eating. When I was teaching in France, my partner was also an American, and we had a schedule for the day because we were going to cram in information, right? And when dinner time came, we said, okay, we'll be coming back at 7:30 for the last session of the night. Sorry, I don't have my microphone exactly adjusted right. So we'll all be coming back at 7:30 for the last session of the night. And the people from Europe looked at each other like, what is she talking about? And then they had to explain, no, we now relax. Now, we're not interested in more information. we now relax, and we eat dinner, and we enjoy dinner, and maybe we have a little bit of wine, and we enjoy each other. So that was a teaching for us. That was a revelation for us. Okay, maybe we don't have to cram the day full of activity and information. So we can learn from other cultures and their way of doing things. So I was contemplating impatience in myself, and good, my adjuster is coming. Okay. Is that good? Is that better? Okay, great. Closer to my mouth. Okay, it's closer to my mouth. Good? Thank you.
This could go on for an hour.
But don't get impatient. So I realized, okay, I'm impatient to get this over with, maybe breakfast over with, so I can go shopping for food, whatever. So I'm rushing through this thing to get to the next thing, and then I'm rushing through that thing to get to the next thing, and then I'm rushing through that thing to get to the next thing. And where does that lead me? Where's the end point of rushing to get through things? The end point is I'm rushing towards death. And I realized, oh my gosh, I don't want to rush towards death. So I was talking with with our grandson, who was 14, and he was impatient about something. So I explained to him, Vajra, this is what happens, You're rushing towards death. And he kind of looked at me and he said, whoa, that's deep. So this leads to a meditation on impermanence. So if you would get in a comfortable position, and it seems to many people that things are speeding up. Every day something comes out in the news that's kind of shocking. And it seems like change, especially in this country right now, is speeding up. I mean, of course, compared to Gaza or the Ukraine, where change is happening moment by moment in very obvious and harmful ways. So we can't compare, but we may have that feeling of, gosh, things are speeding up, change is speeding up. And I don't like that. So in our Zen practice, our Buddhist practice, we dig into the things that we don't want to align with, that we don't want to experience. So let's try that with impermanence. So if you would open your awareness to anything that speaks to you of impermanence. It could be sounds, could be body sensations. What is the direct evidence right now in your awareness of impermanence? Of the flow of impermanence. And see if you can align yourself with the flow. It's a little bit like jumping into a stream and just floating with the flow of the stream. And maybe a thought comes up and you get caught in the thought. It's like getting caught in an eddy in the stream or a branch. You get caught. But the stream is still flowing, and so you free yourself and you join the flow of the stream of impermanence. Relaxing into the flow. And now, you resist the flow. So, tighten up and resist the flow. No. No, no, no. Things are changing too fast. No. And then relax again and join the stream of flow of impermanence. And then again, tighten up. Resist. No. I don't want things to change. Hold it, hold it, hold it. Fight against change. And then relax. Back into the stream, the flow of impermanence. Thank you. Now you can open your eyes. And how was that? Did you learn anything? You can just raise your hand if you want to say what you saw or learned. Should we use the microphone or? Yeah, okay. So raise your hand and the microphone will come to you.
Hi, good morning. When I was being tight, their suffering arose right away. Yeah, and I could really feel my mind feeling tighter and expanding and tighter, like the instrument, the stringed instrument that they talk about. Yeah, so that was an amazing experience. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, what I realized right away was even when I became tight and held my breath, my heart was still beating. And without change, so we need that change. We need to continue, because every change is a heartbeat, every change is a breath.
Yes, so the advantages of impermanence, right? Change. When things are difficult, they change. Isn't that great? Another advantage of impermanence is, can you think of an advantage of impermanence? Letting go. Stop the pain. The pain is there, and then it goes away. Gaining spiritual awakening, right? Being a dummy and then being an awakened person.
It's not boring.
It's not boring. Change isn't boring. More love. And what about children? Do we want them to stay the same? Babies get born. And then they grow into teenagers, and then it's like, ooh. So we're proud of them changing, and then we're like, ooh, don't change. If we didn't have impermanence, and what would happen to dead bodies? They'd pile up, right? Everywhere. So we have, decay, death and decay, so that those bodies get recycled back into the earth and the elements are passed on to other bodies. So thank goodness for impermanence of our bodies. But then when impermanence strikes and we can't do something that we used to be able to do because we're getting older or we have an accident, then we don't like impermanence. So you can see how impermanence has advantages and it has disadvantages, or things that make us suffer, aspects that make us suffer. But when we really join, as a practice, joining the flow of impermanence, then the tension, the stress, suffering, the origin of the word suffering is friction, or dissatisfactoriness, unsatisfactoriness. But when we join with the flow, even briefly, there's a kind of relief compared to holding on, trying to stop it. It doesn't mean we don't do something in the world to help the world. Of course, each of us has a place to help. But we don't create suffering out of one of the truths that the Buddha taught, impermanence. So impatience is the desire for things to change at the rate we want them to change to, right? So that's how these two are related, impatience and impermanence. We have an idea of how fast things should change. And when that doesn't happen, then we get upset. Rather than just relaxing into the truth. And then, so when you're waiting in line, that's a perfect time to practice. When you feel impatience arise, that's a signal. Practice now. Feel your feet on the ground. Feel your heartbeat. Breathe. Be present. Open to what is. And when you do that, then there are interesting things going on all over. Like this wonderful clerk. Just watching her deal with people's distress. I mean, she was a bodhisattva. Because everybody had some agenda. Like one woman she hadn't checked her mailbox for months. And the clerk said, well, we don't keep mail that's just been sitting there for months. We can't. And so the woman was disappointed, but then the clerk said, show me your ID and give me your mailbox number, and I'll go check and back. She didn't have to do that. That was extra. She could have just given the information. We don't keep it. But she went in the back, and she came back with this huge pile of mail. She said, actually, we did keep it, and gave it to her. Now, we know a lot of that is junk mail, which can cause suffering, right? So, so you can watch, once you begin to practice, you can watch yourself switch from suffering, time to practice, ease, and then back to suffering. It happens all day long. But each time it happens, it's a reminder, it's a mindfulness bell. Okay, time to practice. Okay, I'm going to do one other little practice for you that I enjoy. So I'm going to talk about the difference between awareness through the mind and awareness through the heart. Because we talk a lot about heart-based practices, and we have loving-kindness practices and compassion practices and so on to help us shift to heart-based practices. So I want to show you that shift. If you ask people in the US, where are you located in your body? Most Westerners would say, I'm located here, in the brain, right? That we're a kind of box, computer box, and that it has these headlights that look out and see the world, and then the computer in the box orders the hands move and pick up that glass and pour that into the hole in the box. So we kind of think we're up here. But if you ask people in other cultures, where are you located in your body, they will often say, here in my heart or in my tanden, the center of gravity here. So that's nice to know, interesting to know, but let's try it. So I would like you to hold your hand up in front of your face, and I would like you to look at it with your mind. What does your mind see about your hand? What does your mind see about your hand, about these odd little things that stick out that we call fingers and tendons and veins and so on. You can turn it over and look at the other side of your hand. Creases. You can move the hand a bit. So we're kind of analyzing. The mind likes to analyze. The mind likes to draw conclusions. Okay, now I'd like you to drop your awareness into your heart. And now look at your hand with the softness of the heart. What does the heart see about the hand? Okay, time to report in. Did you notice a difference? Looking at the hand from the analytic mind and looking at the hand from the heart. The person next to you was shaking her head. Yet, no, Daniel, the person next to you. Yes, you made the mistake of shaking your head.
Yes. Well, I noticed judgment. You know, I'm just looking at it analytically.
Yes,
I like, wow, I am really getting old. And
getting old.
You know, and there was judgment, like short hands. And,
Short.
You know, I miss the sun, that kind of thing.
I miss the sun. Fingers are too short.
Yeah.
I'm getting old.
Yes.
Yeah.
All of it.
So does that contain a little bit of aversion?
I'm sorry, second.
Does that contain a little flavor of aversion?
It would have, but I've been practicing a bit.
Yes.
So I just noticed it. And
Okay.
I just was like,
Just noticed. Okay,
yeah,
good.
just notice how
Uh-huh.
I'm doing that to myself.
And then when you shifted to heart,
then when I shifted to the heart, I was like, wow, it's just so helpful, and it's always trying to help me, and how lucky I am that it can do these things, and gratitude for it.
it's always trying to help me. And that's actually one of the practices we did while we were eating during the retreat, is to just notice how your hands are constantly caring for you. So that's how the heart sees the caring. And it doesn't really worry about the veins and and gratitude arises. Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Anybody else experience? We have some people in the back.
Okay, I'm in trouble now. I did not notice a difference.
Okay, that's fine. Everybody's different. That's totally fine.
Doesn't it mean there's some practice I could do there? Or
I don't know. You decide.
I'm pretty sure there is, but I just wanted to express that, yeah, I really couldn't generate any kind of difference in feeling. Or
Yeah, that's fine. There is no right answer when we do these exercises,
Okay,
because everybody's different. Thank you.
okay, fair enough.
I guess I wanted to follow up on that because I felt like from the analytical perspective, I knew exactly what to do, like what to see. Oh, it's time to do your nails, that kind of thing. But from the heart perspective, I didn't actually know how to do that. And I thought maybe you could just, I'm thinking, oh, everyone else knows, so it's probably fine. But because he said that, it made me wonder, maybe you could give just a couple more words on like when you do that from the heart, like how do you do it? Because I just didn't know how to do it.
Yeah, that's a very good question. So you knew how to do it from the analytic point of view, oh, like and then my nails need doing or trimming or, we're kind of seeing, we have a tendency to see what's wrong, not what's right. It's a human tendency because what's right isn't dangerous, but what's wrong could be dangerous. So our mind has this tendency to see what's wrong, and that makes us suffer too, because it's always negative, fearful, based with fear. So that was good to notice. But then when we switch to what we might call the heart's awareness of the hands, then we just did a practice, so the people who were here for the retreat, which was based on watching how the hands help us. So just stopping thoughts about the hand, just observing, oh, it knows how to pick up a spoon and get some cereal and put it in my mouth. I don't have to tell it to do that. It's taking care of me all day long. And the tongue also does that. You know how if you get something stuck in your teeth and the tongue is just like always trying to get it out, get it out, get it out, get it out. Or the hand reaches in and gets it out. But we don't have to tell the hand to do that or the tongue to do that. So it's an aspect of I am being cared for all the time, which is a kind of switch from seeing the problems to seeing the offerings, the beautiful offerings. Does that make sense? It does. Yeah. But we do have to practice it. We have to practice that switch. Like, I often recommend a media fast for people who are just too distressed by the news. But now we have channels that have the positive news. If you notice, if you notice the news and just count how many of the news items are fearful, arouse fear in you. And that's what we pay for and that's what we buy. Because we want to avoid danger and problems and suffering. But meanwhile, there's a whole aspect of our awareness of the world which is missing, which is all the things that are going so beautifully. So I recommend a positive news feed in your day. It's very uplifting. Because most people are kind. Or have the seeds of kindness and want to be kind and want to be helpful. But we miss that because of the news. Anybody else, when you were looking at it from, we got a couple people in the back. So you can, if those of us who are parents or grandparents, watch that too. That we don't just talk to the child about what they're doing wrong. But we talk to them about, oh, wow, you did that? Or thank you for feeding the dog when you noticed the dog was hungry. Whatever, there's a million things to notice that are positive that we can comment on for children. Yes?
First, I want to thank you and everyone here. This is our first time here. We came from Hernando County. So I'm a seeker, so when you asked us to put our hands out, I remember doing it a couple of years ago when I was looking at a Van Gogh painting, and I felt my hands showed veins of aging, but I looked at it more as a painting. My hands showed that I've lived a full life. That's what I felt looking at my hands and thinking, and actually, they actually look young considering.
Especially this part looks.
And
this
then,
part
I don't
looks
know if
young.
you noticed, but I do henna. And then when you asked us to turn our hand around, I realized what I have been. I'm here to learn. I'm a seeker, and I realize what I do. when we turn our hand around, I felt I want to hold on to things. I want to grasp them. But in the end, when we put our hand on our heart, I realized, no, it's about letting go. And that was what I felt.
Letting go of having the kinds of hands we had when we were 14, right? Because when we look at it and we see our aging hands as ugly, then the mind says, well, just go around like this all the time because this part looks pretty good. Don't let anybody see this part. We have to laugh at ourselves, right? But yes, that's something that the heart can see in the hands. All the things they've done over the years, held our children, made food, given money to someone who needed. There's just 100 million things that these hands have done, which are beneficial and loving. Thank you. Anybody else? We have a few more minutes before the children come in. Yes. Oh, people online. Okay. Yeah, raise your hand online if you want to make a comment about that exercise.
We
Yes,
had
please.
Leslie online say analytical, dirty nails, cuts to appreciation, useful.
Aha. So
We-
from dirty nails to useful. Appreciation, gratitude.
And Shirley online said, I felt an instant shift when I looked at my hand from the heart. I felt an overwhelming sense of gratitude for all that my hands helped me do and how much they have worked to help me my whole life.
Anybody else?
Yes, first I want to thank everyone for making this, sustaining this space in this community. I've flown 12 hours to be here, not exactly to come to this meeting, but it is part of my the blessing to arrive to Tampa and to come to this community that still's holding up. I would second your observation about if you're outside the States versus, so the tendency if you're in the States versus you're anywhere else, to have a tendency to see through the eyes of your mind as opposed to your heart. And that's exactly what I learned when I first left. I moved to Mexico. I learned how to see through my heart. That was the biggest lesson of living there. So it's a great, it's a blessing that this space, this community, everyone is here present, and you here being present is sustaining this practice. I would say I bring greetings from my teacher, Les Sangha in Chile, and from my initial community also in Minneapolis, Minnesota. Again, I thank you for the teaching today, for the Dharma talk, and for everyone holding this space. Thank you.
Thank you so much. One of the most powerful practices, and it is backed by a lot of research, is gratitude practice. And so one simple way to practice is to have a little booklet on your pillow with a pen. And when you go to bed at night, before you get into bed, you just sit down on the edge of the bed and you open your little notebook, and you can write in the date, and then you can write in at least 3 things that you're grateful for that happened during the day. And often we discover that if we write 3, then more come. More just start flowing in. And that simple practice has been shown to improve overall sense of well-being, physical health, fewer doctor visits, mental health. So it's quite potent, and it's very simple. So I recommend gratitude practice on a regular basis. And we have a mindful medicine group with healthcare professionals, and one of them said, when we introduced this practice, oh, I've been doing this gratitude practice for 2 years now, and I have a colleague, so he works at the VA in Portland. I have a colleague, an old friend, and every night before we go to bed, this is to keep us honest and accountable, we mail each other our gratitude list. That's all. There's no comment or anything. It's just like, here's what I'm grateful for today. And what they've added, because both of them are married, the last item had to be something they were grateful for about their partner. And you could change that about your children, or you just make it a person, some person. And the nice thing about that is then you tell your partner what you're grateful for before you fall asleep. And then they feel obliged to tell you what they are grateful for. Yes. That's another benefit from gratitude practice. So you can do it with children, you can do it with grandparents, you can do it with anybody. But that last one should be about a person, and then tell the person. So we have a few minutes before the children come in, and let's just, again, join the flow of impermanence. Just for a few minutes, let go of everything that's just happened. It's all gone. Anything that's useful will emerge again in our minds. So open the mind's awareness to any signs or signals of the flow of impermanence. And then tighten up. Try to resist the flow of impermanence. No, no, no. I'm resisting, and then relaxing. Joining the flow again. Including the daily flow of things that we can be grateful for. So please bring to mind 3 things that you're grateful for. And if other ones come forward, that's fine. It doesn't have to be 3. And we can add gratitude for children who are beginning their practice early in life, which they're going to tell us about in a minute. Thank you, everyone.
We had a family program today, and the kids will let you know what they did. So here's Patrick. All right. So today we learned about the...
Minerals, and we colored.
We learned about the...
Two promises.
and how to take care of and understand...
Minerals. Animals. And plants.
Thank you, Patrick. Good job. All right, and here is our middle school group, and they'll let you know they're...
In our lesson, we learned how to develop understanding and by asking questions and asking why. And in our lesson, we learned how to develop compassion in order to protect the lives of people, animals, plants, and minerals. We learned about, I forgot what they were called, the two promises. And it was understanding, like, ask why and ask questions and stuff. And, yeah.
All right, thank you so much. And thank you, Nicole, and thank you for all of our adult helpers. All right, and here's Rick.
Okay, so we'll finish up with the Lent song here that many people know. And it's a loving kindness meditation that starts with ourselves. May I be well, happy, and peaceful. And then it goes to other people that are with us. May you be well, happy, and peaceful. And eventually ends up with all living beings, especially my enemies, because loving kindness is not approval. It's an attitude. Let's see if this will stay where it's going to stay. Anyway, please join in wherever you can. Do a little intro here. May I be well, may I be happy, may I be peaceful and at ease. May I have courage, determination, and understanding for all I need. May I be well.
Thank you, Rick. Thank you, children. Thank you, family program. Thank you all for coming today. Deep bow to our teachers. Wonderful to receive the Dharma rain so we can grow healthier. Just before we end today, just a word about dana. Dana is generosity. It's one of the things we practice in our tradition. This whole place, and please, afterwards, if you're new here, walk in the gardens. It only comes because of the generosity in so many ways of members and non-members. At the end of every meeting like this, because we have received the generosity of our teachers, they gave it freely. Traditional to make an offering, dana to them. There's a bowl in the back. There is a QR code in the back for those who know about such things. And you can make a donation online. So deep appreciation to our teachers. Usually we have, for those who are new, we usually have tea here afterwards, but because the retreat people are having lunch today, there will not be tea, but there will be online tea. There'll be virtual tea, so just come back online in 10, 15 minutes. Come back online in 5 minutes. And so everybody online can have their own tea together and talk about today's talk and the teachings and what they heard. So we'll now have final bells. Again, thank you all for coming. Thank you all for coming. We look forward to your visit next year. If we're all still around. Always a chance.